Okay, hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a requested video I got, which is for a complete beginner's guide to Cricut Design Space app for the iPad or iPhone. So here we go. When you open up your Design Space app for the first time, this is the page you're going to see. You have kind of your account information, setting up your machine in the corner. You never really need to use that again past the first time, unless you're setting up a new machine. We have a new project if you want to go to a blank canvas, so you can create your own project. Here you have recommended projects that Cricut has pre-done for you that are usually by theme, so of holidays, events, current things going on. As you can see here, if we were to pick this t-shirt and go into it, you can choose, I'm a Cricut Access member, so it is a free item. You can choose to either make it, which would be sending it to your machine, or you can choose to customize. So that's if you want to change something about it, like the different fonts, etc., something about the project. So again, different projects here. They give you kind of the skill level required, the time it takes, and everything you'll need to know about it. So those are fun. If you go here in the corner, there's the word categories. You can click on it and find other areas here. Oh, that would just be my internet catching up, trying to make that item. But you can look here, different categories, like cards, for example. Let's get back home. Looking at cards, these are some current ones that come up. But you can also just search for specifically what kind of project you're looking for. So those are the different categories of pre-done projects. So also here on the side, we have favorites, if you have any projects favored, and then also your own projects you've designed on this iPad or on iPhone, or projects saved in the cloud, which are ones that you've saved that you can use from one device to another. So that's the most important things here on this home page. If you look up here in the corner, we have home, canvas, which is your working space. That would get you to the same spot this new project would. And make, which is the screen where you're actually finishing designing things up, like you saw earlier with the t-shirt words, to send it to your machine. So if we go to canvas here, we're actually going to go home. So we're going to go new project because I want a blank canvas. So you have here the top and the side, you see inches. You can zoom in or zoom out, just like you would on most devices. Zoom in. I like to zoom in, so my canvas is about 12 inches across because that is the size of the mats that I use. But different, it doesn't really matter. Whatever helps you work at the moment. So that's canvas. Up here we have this little floppy disk that kids nowadays probably don't know what that means, but that is your save button. Obviously we can't save anything yet because there's nothing on the screen, but eventually we'd save the project. And make sure that you're saving regularly so that you do not lose your work. So that's pretty important. Here at the bottom, we're going to start on the far left where it says image, and here we have browse all images, some highlighted categories, themes, shapes, things that are trending right now. If I'm looking for an image here, I usually start either at browse all, which is where I get to the page that has filter, so that I can go into filter to ownership and find my own uploaded images if it's something that I myself brought into Design Space. If it's not something that I brought in, we'll reset that. I like to go back to browse all images and then just use the basic search feature. So let's think of something fun here. a similar search feature to many systems. We type in the word barn. It's going to bring you up, especially if you're subscribed to Cricut Access, which is their monthly subscription that allows you to access more images and fonts and projects. You have a lot here to pick from. If you're not subscribed to a certain image, you'll be able to tell, like this one that hasn't loaded yet, it's $1.99 if I weren't to want to use that image. So that is one I'm going to skip because there are plenty of free options that I would pick first. Let's go back to the top here. Alright, reorganizing here. Okay, so barn. So filter here. Let me see. Not project type. I never actually use that one, so I'm going to ignore it. There we go. Operation type. So I want images that are cut out. You can also get ones that the machine will draw if you insert a pen into it. I don't actually use print then cut, but those are ones where your machine, you have to use a printer first to print something out and then the machine will cut it. So I have no experience with that one. And cut and draw images. So I like to use cut, draw, and cut and draws. That's usually my filters. I just want print then cuts eliminated. So not something that I do. And if you're not using a printer additionally, then that's kind of what yours would look like as well. So here's a lot of options. Let's go ahead and pick us a barn. And let's see, just for working with, let's pick one more item here. Okay. Okay, so then you can see here at the bottom the images that you've selected. We go ahead and hit the insert button to bring them into your design space. So I'm having a little bit of internet issues. Okay, I'm back. I had to do some internet fixes. So here are the two images that we inserted. So you click on one to select it, and you can drag it around. Click on the other and drag it around. Simple. If we go down here to the word layers, it will show you that we have two layers right now. They are both cut layers, meaning the machine would be cutting it out. This is another way to change what you currently have selected. Okay. So other things about images, if we take our duck, using this bottom right corner, we can make him bigger, smaller. If we press this lock button, we can make him bigger and smaller, but the ratio won't be maintained. I'm actually going to use the undo button down here. You can see undo and redo because I want to keep that locked. Top right corner is rotate. Top left corner is delete. And the bottom center, I'll show you better later. It helps show you how many layers you have, but this image is only one layer, so that's not very exciting. Next down here by image is text. So Cricut provided fonts, or you can look at ones that are on your system, ones you've downloaded. Do make note that some of the fonts cost extra money, so I pick from the ones that do not. We can put a filter as well for fonts. We can use single and multi-layer, which are different amounts of vinyl layers, or you can use writing. So those are the fonts that if you use a pen in the machine, it will actually write for you. So I don't really care right now what the font looks like. Let's pick something here. Okay. So you just type in, just like you would any other system. You hit return, or just click out of it, I should say, and then we have our font, our text. So let's drag our text, just like the pictures. We can use this corner to shrink it. Double click it to edit the text itself. Let's say we want to take away the space and make it 2 lines. Click out and see now our text is on 2 different lines. Down here at the bottom, we are going to edit it. Here we can change, right now it's set on writing because it's a writing font. I'm actually going to change it here. You can see font name. I'm going to change it to a font that isn't a writing only font. So this one can be cut out. So we can change the size by using that corner. We can also change it down here if we want to specifically change the width of it to 3 inches, for example, or smaller or bigger, and we have it locked, so the height is going to change along with the width if you choose to use those instead of the corner here. They both are useful in different situations. Okay, so we are using just regular, that one's not a writing one. Alignment, it's left aligned right now. Looking at the text, we can change it to center or right. I'm going to leave it back to left. The size, you can change, but again, that's similar to just using the corner and pulling it. I've never actually used size there. Letter space. So changing this here is going to change the amount of space between your letters. You can see that shrinking or growing. That's really useful for some fonts. Let's see an example here, such as this one. You see the fonts often come with space between the letters. When using this font, it's important that your letters are connected. So we're going to shrink that space down more. Line space, the next button we've got, changes the amount of space between the lines, just like it sounds like. Next over we have what's called cut, the line type. I have it set to cut right now, so my machine would be cutting out those letters. If we wanted to switch it to draw, for example, my machine would be drawing it out and you'd have to insert the pen into the machine. I'm going to undo because I want it to stay on cut. No fill, that's if we were using that print to cut feature I don't use, so I actually never bothered there. Changing the size, the rotation, I like to do it here instead. Horizontal flip, we'll use our duck friend. That's a horizontal flip. And vertical flip. I kind of like him like that. Okay. So now, instead of moving him around like this, we can use the H position. That means horizontal position. That's really useful if you have just a little bit you want to move something, for example. If it's just slightly out of place. Oops. And then same thing here, vertical position. Make it higher or lower. Okay. So there's our upside down duck right now. Okay. Excuse my sniffing. It is allergy season. Okay. So we take this duck here. Our next button over is called Arrange. You can see the options. If I hit Send to Back, this duck layer is going to be sent to be the very back layer. Let me bring it over here a little bit so you can see better. Arrange, Send to Back. So see what happened? I'm going to undo that, send it back to the front. But it is sending it behind the barn. Okay, so that's a lot of the edit features here that are important ones to practice. Actions. Let's see. So group and ungroup. If we select here by dragging a box to select multiple items, we also can go to layers and select multiple layers. When these items are highlighted, we can group them together. That will make them stay together when we are going to make them later. Ungroup them. Sniffles. Okay, so if we use attach, and now for example we go to make our project, you see those items are attached, so they are maintaining kind of the same positioning within each other. So if we go back to our canvas and we detach them, these are no longer a pair, so when we go to make it, they are just cut out wherever and not related to each other. So if you want something to come out looking how you have it on your screen, design-wise, you need to attach them. Okay. The word weld here, that's an important one. So if you have font like this, or pictures that you put kind of close to each other, things that you want to come out in one continuous cut, let me see here one second. Okay. So right now, for example, there would be a separate cut line between the O and the N because they started out as two separate letters. Now that I've brought them nice and close together, I'm going to weld them. So now it's one continuous cut. The machine isn't going to make a cut between them. And that's really helpful for having your vinyl not peel up as easily, to have more continuous cuts. So that's what weld is for. You can also weld different things together. Let's show an example here with just this shape and this triangle. We're going to turn on its side. If we were to put those two things together, let's get rid of our barn here. So we select just these two images and we were to weld them together. It makes it a little bit more obvious that it became one continuous item. Okay, so that's weld. Our next button down here is slice. So slice is kind of fun. So how that works is you have to have two layers selected, such as our two shapes earlier, but now this only counts as one because we welded them together. So when we're slicing, we put two things over each other. You see now our duck's behind. Let's go back what we practiced earlier, arrange, and send it to front. So now if we take our duck and our shape, we have two layers selected. We can use our slice feature. So what that does is it cuts one layer out of the other. So now we have a duck butt cut out of our shape. So just a fun thing that's useful in different situations. If you're trying to cut an emblem, for example, let's undo back a little bit here. But if you're trying to insert a shape, circle, and you're trying to cut that circle out of this bigger shape, to slice it out, that's useful. Sometimes you need different things cut out, like if this was going around an emblem, around something else, you want to be able to slice layers out of each other. So that's what that does. The button duplicate kind of does exactly what you would think it would do. It makes another layer. It's exactly like the last one. You can go here to layers and see that now we have two of them. So if we want, we can delete one of the layers using the garbage can, or we could temporarily hide the layer using that eyeball if you're trying to just work on other things, and undo it by hitting the eyeball again. So now we'll delete it. Okay, and we're going to click layers again to make the layer menu go away. So our next button over here, we actually need, let's delete that, let's get some fresh text out here. I actually don't care what it says. I'm going to delete some other items here just to get them out of our way. Okay, so here's the text we're working with. Let's go back. We were playing in the Actions menu. So where it says Advanced, Actually, I want this to be 2 lines of text. So I'm going to go up here and make 2 lines of text. Okay. So now, if we go back to actions, we can do advanced. We can do what's called ungroup to lines. And what that does is now each line of text moves separately. They're separate items from each other. And also, fun note that I don't think I've gone over yet, you see when I'm moving objects around how yellow lines show up? That's really important. So if we bring this over here, if I want these 2 lines of text to be centered with each other again, there we go. Oh, it'd be right there. Same thing with up and down. If you want them to be in line, like the top of the words. So basically when those lines show up, it's just showing you, like if we go like that, we know that it's lined up there. They're just kind of lining up lines that are really useful, and you'll use them almost every time you're designing. So now if we take this and we go back to that advanced, we can do what's called ungroup to letters. So now every single letter is its own daily bob. So if we take some of these letters and we could move them around, if you want some designs, it's nice to have kind of bouncing letters, so a little bit of an up down appearance like that. So the problem here is if we go to hit make it to have our machine cut it out, you look here, it's all kind of random. It's not actually in the order we had it in. So if we go back to canvas, if we want it remaining like this, we have to reselect it. Actually, I want all of it remaining like that. We're going to select it all, and we're going to hit the attach button. So now this will be cut out exactly how I have it designed there, because they're attached together. In this case, the weld button isn't important because there are no pieces overlaying each other where we want them welded together. So just the attach button. So again, remembering 2 fingers to zoom, 1 finger to select and move items around, and 2 fingers to move around your canvas. Okay, so next to text we have shapes. Again, that's just any kind of general shapes to add in. So let's, for example, add a square in here. And let's say we wanted this square to become a card we're making for someone. We're going to edit, we're going to look at the size. I actually am going to unlock, you can do that here or down in the bottom menu. So I can change the height to width to not be a square anymore. So right now it's 2 something by 3 something. I want that to be a lot bigger, so let's zoom out. And that's better. So if this was our card, I'm going to go ahead and add a shape. I want to add a line. And we can see down in edit what type of line we want it to be. So if we want the line to be cut, so just cutting the paper or vinyl, we would pick that. If we want it drawn on, where you insert a pen, it draws a line, we would select draw. But score is another tool. So not one that comes with the Cricut, but one that's easy to buy is a scoring tool. So basically it will kind of press and score the paper. That's typically you would use it with the cardstock if you're trying to make a card. So you easily know where to fold your card. So turning it sideways, again, see the yellow line helps us know when it's horizontal. I'm going to bring it here onto my card and make sure it's touching the sides. Okay, so now this shape is set to be cut out, where this line is set to be scored. So this is kind of the preparation for a card. So we're going to attach here so that we know that this score line will be for this object. We don't want it floating off somewhere else. So this is the start of a card. So continuing our practice here, if we were to add an image onto our card, what's something birthday related? Let's add some cake, because who doesn't like cake? Okay, and then I'm going to insert it. I'm going to shrink it. Oh, and it's unlocked, so I'm going to actually undo, because I want it to maintain the height and width ratio while I shrink. So this is going on the front of my card. I like it. Remember, so it's not cut out randomly next to it, we want to attach it. And actually, I forgot, when you attach an item that's on it, it's going to be cutting it out of the same color vinyl, so I have to decide if I want it, sorry, my brain, if I want it drawn on or if I want it cut out of a different color vinyl and then put on here. But because this is going to be a card, I'm working with cardstock, I actually want it to draw it on. So I'm going to edit, and right here where it says cut, I actually want to switch that to draw. So now I'm going to put it here. The machine will be cutting out of cardstock this rectangle, scoring here, and drawing on the cake. So it will, the machine itself, it's a pretty smart device. It's going to tell you when to insert the next tool. So hey, put your score tool in, we're gonna do that, and now switch your score tool to being a pen so we can draw that on. So now that I have decided it's being drawn there, I'm going to Actions, Attach it. So now let's add some words to this card. Happy, and then I actually want it to be the line down, so I'm going to hit Return. Birthday. Let's pretend I want this on the back of this card. So I'm going to shrink it down until it's the size I want. Let's go ahead and go in the Edit menu and center it. I'm actually going to use this rotate button to flip it over, because if you can imagine this card folded in half, I want it there on the back. So I can choose if I want it to cut it out of a different color, and then I can glue it on here. Or what I've been liking to do with cards is I actually want the machine to instead draw it on. So then we can color it in. And if you do choose to have the machine cut out different colors, you can always then glue it on. That's another way to do it. So Actions, Attach. So now that's all attached. If we were, for fun here, to go to Make It, that's a barn being cut out because it was still on there. Here you can see on our gray color we have, sorry, let me adjust here. We have that card that we made. So looking at it on the mat, and if you wanted to, if you have, for example, a piece of cardstock that you're putting on like that, however you want. So it shows that you're going to need about 7 inches by about 4 inches of the paper. And looking over here, it's telling us that it's going to need a score, draw, and cut functions done. So it will prompt you as we go. My machine is not hooked up. Yes, so that's as far as we can get. But basically from that point it's going to start prompting you. I'll show you in future videos on what to do next. So you'd pick your material as being cardstock. I like to use the medium cardstock. function. It works with most cardstock I have. And then it will start working for you, cutting out, telling you to put in the right tool to score and the right tool for it to draw. Remembering to use the correct stickiness of cutting mat as well for what you're doing. The medium one actually works pretty well for most projects, but I definitely recommend keeping them clean, keeping your mats clean, and keeping the clear plastic layer that comes on your cutting mat on the mat when you're not using it. It just keeps it clean from dust, different things going around. Very useful. So let's play around here some more. As you can see, when I spin an object, it's going to tell me when it's lined up in different ways. That's really helpful for when you're making your own design. Let's see. So these are some of the key features. Obviously, I can't go over every single feature in one video, but I just wanted to show you some basics that are important for getting started. Upload button probably won't be using right away from the beginning, but that's when you're wanting to upload your own image into Design Space. It's easy to start just with the large amount of options that they have provided you. Close out of that. So also, just for fun, we're going to go back home, looking at some of these pre-done projects. Let's see, for example, if I wanted something for a birthday, and if I didn't want to design my own like we were practicing with in the canvas, I'm going to go here to birthday. They come up with lots of great ideas, but let's start simple here with a card, a birthday card. That's looking easy enough. So if we pick birthday card, we look down, it's going to explain how to do it, explain that it is an easy project. There's not that many layers to it, or things that would be confusing. Tells you what kind of mat to use, that you'll need cardstock, how to do it, and some of the images used in this project. And then again, we can choose to just go ahead and make it. Oh, baby is calling, so I'm going to finish up here, customize it. So here is their example of a birthday card. So you could alter things here, add to it, add images, add text, change things up before you go to make it. And then in the make it feature, you would be cutting out different parts of cardstock to paste together, and that would be your birthday card. So definitely a good place to start with is go ahead and explore here in the home, finding different projects to use, and then working your way over to designing your own. So those are some of the key features. Sorry if it was a little bit long, but I just really wanted you to see Design Space kind of overall for the iPhone or iPad, which is my go-to system I've been using here. But I want you to go ahead and comment below what you'd like to see more specifically, as there's a lot of different features in Design Space that I didn't go over, but what you want to see, what you want to work on more, so I know what to target in our future videos. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss those future videos, so we can continue our crafting journey together.